Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Backpacktrader Training Room for Wednesday, October 18th, 2023. Please note the required risk disclosure. This room is for educational and information purposes only. It's not to be considered individual financial advice. Trading of this type carries substantial risks and should only be attempted with funds you can afford to do without. All right, set that aside for crude oil inventory report. That's coming up at 10:30 this morning, so we'll close it down about 10:15. Good morning, Arizona Bob. Good morning, Miles. Crude has already finished its first 9 o'clock mini session, as is unleaded. We'll come back to those in just a minute. Market is about to open. And the market just opened. We are flat on the YM for the moment. Soybeans has a get in sync. Nope, market's not open quite yet, excuse me. Still 5 seconds away. And there we are, market open. We have a get in sync on soybeans, and that just hit the stop, so that trades off the table. The YM, a quick short at 89. Looks like we spiked down to We spiked down to 89. Now we've got a long trade just triggered in at 121. And that's where we should be. Now actually that's a get in sync. So let's take that to 20. Take it to 26 probably. I mean, you're in it now. Soybeans is flat. We're in the long trade on the YM. Nothing new on the Russell. Still in the long on the YM. Looks like we're testing the moving averages. 50 and the 200. Crossover filter kept us out of the short. And we take a full stop on the long. One moment while I do some housekeeping here. Pound Aussie in a short trade. Nothing else on right now. All right, so in the short trade on pound Aussie, we did grab a quick short. Yeah, that one ran too fast on us. So no trade on the micro Russell. YM with a long trade. Not quite getting the money management. And soybeans with a short trade. $12.99 and 3/4. That's our setup. But we have not yet triggered in. And micro Russell with another trade. 3, 3, 4. Now with that, well, I'm going to say that one's a no trade. It's at best a break even. So no trades yet on the micro Russell that were tradable. Full stop out on the YM. That's 2. All right, crude oil. 9 o'clock start. That's this short right here. We definitely get in sync with that. And we get a stop and reverse long at 71. That triggers in. Stop and reverse adjustment keeps us out of the short there. So the long is of no consequence. We're still in the original long. No entry in there on the second stop and reverse attempt. Third stop and reverse we pick up at, that's going to be at 54. So we go 71 to 54, 17 tick loss. That's 34. Our original one was 62 to 71. For another 18, that's 52 ticks we're down. And we pick up, as I say, we picked up the short at 54. That gives us target 1 for 12, target 2 for 21, for 33. And we end up down 19 on the session, on the mini session. So small loss on the 9 a.m. mini session. Unleaded was a bit more successful. Soybeans trade is still valid. Only one close actually above the balance line. And we have another long. That's just below at 70. It looks like at 71. Just below the 50 EMA at 74. So I would push that to 76. It looks like we just touched 76. And a second full loss, or third full loss on the YM. Even with the adjustment, just got ticked in at 76. It went to 77. So, unleaded. 9 o'clock start. The short's too early. We pick up this long. It goes full stop for a loss of 108 ticks, 54 tick risk. Then we come to a second long trade after setting a new session low at 892. That goes for target 1 and target 2. Trails up to 964, which is enough to get us positive, both if you're trading target 1 and if you're trading target 2. So positive session on unleaded this morning. Now we'll go to the micro NQ. See what's happening there. 4 minutes after our start, we pick up the short. That has gone to money management, and so our stop is at 167 and a quarter, just missing it but surviving, and then picking up target 2 win. Yeah, 19 seconds on the entry bar. And another long on the YM. This will be attempt number 4. Russell gets no trade on the long and a full loss on the short. And 31-second entry bar, so definitely in the trade. And that's loss number 1 on the micro Russell. Trade number 1 on micro NQ is a winner at target 2. Stop is still at 167 and a quarter. Still short on the pound Aussie. And we did trigger short with a new set of targets and stop on soybeans. We got a new trade set up. Same level, 12.99 and 3/4. But our target is at 12.97 and 3/4. Stop at 13.04 flat. And where do we go from here? Micro NQ pushing downward, trying to get down to session low. It's session lows again. The micro Russell is at session lows. Stop still at 167 and a quarter. We haven't gotten to 200% of target 1 yet to start the trailer on the micro NQ. short on the micro Russell, long on the YM. Lots of activity this morning. Now we're starting to trail on the micro NQ, hitting target 3, setting new session lows, 142 flat for the stop. Pound Aussie taking a little bit of heat now. Unfortunately, the failure to get lower after going through the 200 EMA is putting us in a rather difficult position with the short. And we may very well get a stop out on this. The long on the Pound Aussie from yesterday morning went until almost 10 o'clock, about 10 o'clock last night before finally stopping out. Started at just after 8:30 yesterday morning and stayed in the same trade until 10 o'clock last night. So 25 and a half hours in the same trade. And it was a day trade. All right, stopping out and now trading long on the Pound Aussie. I'm sorry, on yeah, not the Pound Aussie, but on the micro NQ. Stopping out at 142 flat. So we get targets 2 and 3 and a trailer almost to target 2. $152.50 for the long entry, pulling back, so we're definitely into that. YM long right in about the entry, testing the 50 again. If we can break through this, we might have a good trade here. And that looks like it's a short trade on the micro Russell, touch the entry, and then pulls back to stop out. I'm going to guess that touched the entry too fast to catch. So I'm going to stay with, call that an untradeable and stay at 1 loss. I wasn't watching that. We can take a look at that. There is our entry. There's our trade time. Make it a 4-second chart. All right, there's our entry at 8 seconds. We're back up here, so I would call that not tradable. Somewhere between 4 and 8 seconds is when we hit the entry. So I will stay with untradeable there. So still just 1 loss. Still long on micro NQ. Short on the Pound Aussie. That's in positive territory. Short on soybeans, also positive. Long on the YM, that one's taking heat. We're going to have to push up through the 50 EMA to get this one. This is our 4th attempt at a long trade. 3 losses already. Pound Aussie test coming back to the entry again. And a 4th full stop out on the YM. And we stop and reverse to short on the micro NQ. We'll give that a point from 34.5, so we'll make that 133.5. And that did trigger in. And pulling back to give us a second chance at it. We did take a full stop on the long trade. So that's 1 win, 1 loss. Soybeans and the Pound Aussie back to the negative side on those trades, but still right around the entries. And a loss on the short trade on the micro NQ. Short trade on the micro Russell. Should be in that larger trade with a wick. As was the last trade on the Russell as well. The one that but that was a no trade. This one 11 seconds on the entry bar, so definitely in this one. Long trade on the micro NQ. Definitely a chance to get in that right there. It had pulled back and then came back through, so we're in this trade. This is also a larger trade than normal. $28.5 to target one. Not quite enough to move my targets down. That's right around where target 2 normally is, but given the larger stop, let's leave it alone and go to work to target 2. But if this is a stop out, this will end the session. And that is loss number 2 on the micro Russell. Long trade has not triggered, and we're about to get a crossover to cancel it. Short entry would be at 49.9 if we get it. Still have a crossover whether this closes up or down at the moment. So that will cancel the long trade. And another long trade attempt on the YM. This is number 5. The odds of one of these being successful is getting better and better. Soybean still in the short. Possible stop and reverse to long has been filtered out by the trend hybrid mode. Trend indicator is definitely downward. So that's keeping us from stopping and reversing into a long. All right, micro Russell has no trades now. The long did cancel. If this closes down, we could get a short trade still. And there is a short. Stop and reverse to short for trade number 6. Make that at 33,999. And we just ticked in. Yee. That's getting tough. That is our final trade of the morning. However, whatever the result, And the short triggers in, or get in sync with it if we weren't already in it. And getting very close to money management. 979, 979 for money management, and there it is. We did get a short on the Russell trade. And we got a stop and reverse exit on the micro NQ. That's the third loss. So that ends the session. Looks like that may end up being a break-even trade. And the short on the YM ends up being a break-even. Stopping out at at 34,001 with the major key level adjustment. Having not hit target. Soybean still working on its short. Another 15 minutes. Micro NQ is done. Micro Russell in a short trade. Pound Aussie still short. So the YM is done. Micro NQ, crude and unleaded are done. Micro Russell, Pound Aussie, and soybeans is all that's left. Good morning, Pamela. Soybeans testing the 200 EMA. Potential stop and reverse to long. That's actually stop and reverse exit again. Make that at 53.3, and it did stop out. That is loss number 3 on the Russell. Micro Russell is done. Difficult morning. 9 a.m. crude session was loser. Micro Russell has been a loser. Micro NQ has been a loser. YM is a big loser this morning. Our only successful chart so far has been unleaded. Taking 2 trades to get to POQ. Soybeans working on its first trade of the day in a short, looking to push down through the 200 EMA to get to target 1 in money management. We can watch these about another 10 minutes, and then I'll need to take a break to set up for the crude oil inventory report at 10:30. Now, all three market indices starting to take off at about 10 o'clock. All three of them heading upward. Successful trades on all three on the long side finally at 10 o'clock. But all three charts are complete as far as our trade plan goes. So soybeans and the pound Aussie are our only active charts. No 10 a.m. crude session this morning. We have the inventory report coming up in about 23 minutes. Where do we go from here? Pound Aussie back to its entry again from the top side coming down, and soybeans just a tick below its entry. Both not moving a lot. Pound Aussie trade acting a lot like yesterday's trade, just oscillating back and forth around the entry. Slow motion right now, and just the 10 o'clock reversal fizzling out, looks like, on our market indices. All three turning down. Soybeans taking another run at its 200 EMA. Nothing new. Give it about 5 more minutes. All right, we are at 10:15, and not much has changed. We're in no man's land on the pound Aussie, halfway between our entry and the stop. Still in the short. Still in the short on soybeans, halfway between the entry, actually just one tick below the entry at this point. So at this point, I'm going to call it a morning here, and I will set up for the crude oil inventory report, and I'll see you back in about 10 minutes or thereabouts. So we will see everybody in shortly, unless there is a question at this point. I don't see anybody putting anything out there. And my monitor is showing live, so we'll see everybody in about 10 minutes for the crude oil inventory report.